This program is classified C, especially for kids.
The race is now and we are one, so come on kids and have some fun. It's time to laugh, so much more to do. Yeah, come on kids, it's all for you. Come on kids, do it kids. Show the world just how it is. Come on kids, we're all kids. Come on kids, do it kids. Show the world just how it is. Come on kids, we're all kids. Come on kids.
Hello all.
Hi, welcome to Come On Kids.
Hey Vicky, let's get on with it.
Right.
Let's go, come on.
What?
Second part of the Papua New Guinea special, let's have it.
Oh, okay, but do we actually get to see the boy today?
Oh, hang on, you've been asking me this, constantly
you're the one who told the
bantering
story
me
in the
since
first
yesterday.
place.
You've waited this long. Let's
okay.
wait till just after the
I'll
Edison
be
twins,
patient.
maybe.
Okay, then.
And you might find out, maybe. I'm not going to
Becky
give
is not
anything
even
away.
there. It's all a story. You've made it up.
Oh, clever.
Now can we see the rest of the special?
Sure, I'll
Please.
gladly show you.
I hate having things that break in the middle and you don't get to see the ending.
Oh, but I mean, there was too much to tell about Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
No, we'll catch up with it today. As you remember, we've been looking for John Maepa, the boy who found my message in a bottle. Here it is. My first day in Daru had been a long and memorable one. I'd met a few of the local kids on the beach, and I was even lucky enough to catch some of their neighbours building a new house. I visited the famous Daru market and sampled some new taste sensations. And then temporarily signed up with the local ball team for a once-only knockout appearance. Besides basketball and the odd game of marbles, there was another game I was playing right throughout the day. The game of detective. But finally, with some help from the DJ at the local radio station, I might have actually cracked the case of the missing John Maepa. All I had to do was find a village called Old Mawata. Today's the start of a new working week here in Daru and things are really starting to get busy. There's a supply ship that's come in down the end of the jetty there and most of the locals are out fishing on the water. We're starting to get busy today too. We're off to Old Mawata village to try and find John Maepa and the message in a bottle. We're going in that boat there, not the outrigger, the orange one there, and I think I somehow stand out from the rest, don't you think? Well, the search was on, but as I climbed aboard, I began to wonder if I wouldn't have been better off taking the outrigger after all. The boat's little leaks didn't bother me, we could always bail out, but Corky's motor was a big worry. This old rattle bucket had been guaranteed to make the distance by Kameza, our skipper. However, as much as I wanted to believe him, I had to keep all my fingers crossed. The trip to Old Mawata village is about an hour all up, which means at some stage along the journey we have to refuel. It's a bit bumpy, but the village is almost in sight, though it's still about 20 minutes away. The coastline has looked much the same all the way. Just the odd pine tree and lots of thick jungle. Not the sort of place I'd like to get lost in. That fear became highly likely though when our motor refused to restart. Luckily we had a spare. Finally it kicked over and we continued on, somewhat slower though, to Old Mawata.
Is that the village? Up there?
On the way into the village's harbour, we met a boat full of fishermen who confirmed that this was where John Maepa and his family lived. Not only that, but they were the people who had found my message in a bottle. The fishermen also said that one of the families in the village had heard our radio message the night before, and the Maepas, as well as everyone else, were anxiously awaiting our arrival. I was keen to get ashore too, not only to meet the Maepas, but because I was getting a little seasick aboard the boat. I've got to tell you, the last part of the boat trip was a bit bumpy. I'm not feeling too good. If I have to run away, you understand why.
water's beautiful and warm.
I wasn't sure where to head or who to speak to first, but I just mentioned the Maipa family name and eventually tracked him
Trying to
down.
find him. I know a few names. I've been studying my Pidgin English book, you see, so I know a few of them. My name Michael. Michael.
I soon found out that my Pidgin English was about as good as their Aussie slang. Luckily, a few folks spoke regular English quite well.
The fellow who got the letter from you, this fellow here, but he's...
You found it, did you?
Yeah,
my
that's the
son
father.
Oh, your son found it, so you're Joe?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to... Do you know where I threw the bottle in?
Yeah.
It was out of Fiji, a long way. So John was with you when you found it? Was he? When you found the bottle, was John with you?
Yeah.
Have you still got the bottle?
I smashed it all.
Oh, you smashed it to get it open?
No, hard to take it out.
Yes.
So I just smash it and take all the letter on.
And who's got the letter?
Letter is there.
It's still up there?
Yeah.
Why don't we go and see if we can have a look at it? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terrific. And let's try and find John on the way.
No, John.
What is John doing?
All the while, little John had never been far away from the action, but as I was to find out, he was incredibly shy.
John? My name Mike. Good day. Good day. I was the one that threw the bottle into the water that you found.
Although John's father, Joe, said that his son had been looking forward to meeting me and hadn't stopped talking about it, he seemed to be at a loss for words today.
Is he a good boy? Yeah, okay. What were you doing when you found the letter? When you found the bottle?
We are pulling net.
Pulling the net in.
Someone net.
So did the bottle get stuck in the net?
No.
Just floated up?
Under what? So. Under so.
Have you ever found any other bottles or anything like that here?
No. Only that bottle I found.
That's the first. Well, I'll send you another one when I get home.
It sounded as though none of the other bottles tossed off the Fair Star had washed up with mine. Who knows where they ended up?
Show me what you're eating. What is that, sugar cane? And you just eat it straight, bite into it. Can I have a bite? Is it good to eat? Yes. Yeah? All right, here we go. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. They should bottle this stuff. No, this is good.
The sweet syrup of the sugar cane is like lollies for these kids, and it's great fun to chew. But there was no time for eating.
A few of the people here can speak good English, so we've worked out that what we're going to do is go up to the village and have a bit of a sit down and maybe some more sugar cane or something. Let's go.
Well, the sugar cane was one unexpected delight, but stick around, because when we come back, we'll show you a typical old Mawatan meal and hit the high seas for a canoeing lesson. By the time we began our walk to the Maipa house, it seemed as if everyone in the village was aware that we had arrived. The long walk gave me a good chance to talk to a few of the welcoming party, but especially Joe. He had lived in Old Mawata all his life, and so too had his father, and his father's father. Apart from young John, Joe and his wife had a daughter who was 8 years old, and like the other kids in the village, they had all decided to take the day off today.
How long would it take to build a hut like that?
So something, 2 months or 3 months like this.
3 months, and it's all made here. You go out and find all the leaves and wood and everything all around this area, do you?
Yeah. You used to go and instead of bush, cut those, bush trees, bring them, eat them. Okay. Build a house.
Do you live in a house like that?
Yeah.
Where's that? Where's your house?
Mine there.
Oh, there. Well, let's go find it.
If the villagers had owned a red carpet, I'm sure they would have rolled it out for me to add to the royal treatment I was already receiving. When we reached Joe's house, he handed me the carefully guarded letter, which I had thought I'd never see again.
Oh, this is it. This is the letter. It's gotten a bit sort of worn around the edges. Let's see, it's got up the top. My name is Michael Brosnan, and and address and everything. I'm on the Fair Star, and I've been to New Caledonia, Fiji and Vanuatu. It is between these last two island groups that I will launch my message. Okay, if you find my bottle, please write to me, and I'll write back to you. I hope you find my bottle soon. Now that's what I wrote, and that's what John's done. He's written back to me. I wrote a PS here. I work for a television show in Australia called Come On Kids, and I would love to hear where you have found this bottle. Please contact Channel 9 at the above address or by phone. And they haven't really got any phones here, so they did the best they could. This is terrific. I don't know if any of the other kids on the ship found their message or what, but this is amazing. It's a great way to post a letter. I love it. It's terrific.
I was keen to have a better look around Old Mawata, so Joe and John took me on a guided tour. There are around 20 houses in the village, all raised off the ground to endure floods, and all much the same inside. The big difference between Old Mawata and Daru was the cleanliness. The village was spotless, and to the locals, keeping the place clean was a matter of pride. The areas underneath the houses are the real activity rooms. This is where all the cooking and eating is done, and most important of all, it allows the kids to play marbles even when it's raining. It's also the coolest place in the house, and that makes it Mrs. Maipa's favourite spot for working on her crafts, such as weaving the mats that they sleep on. This job looked incredibly confusing, but the result is better than you'll find in any shop. Some of the women take the skill one step further and dye the leaves using different coloured typewriter ribbon from Daru. They weave them into full-size feature walls for their homes, just like do-it-yourself wallpaper. The skills these people have acquired to make up for the absence of modern materials, tools and technology are quite amazing. Not far away, for instance, was someone in the process of building a house, single-handed. Slowly but surely he plods away, using little else besides a hammer and an axe. There are no building companies or hardware stores in Old Mawata. You simply have to learn to survive on your wits, and a hole left unrepaired in a fishing net could mean that your family won't have anything to eat. One skill that's fun to watch is tree climbing. When Joe asked me if I was thirsty, I didn't expect him to go to all this trouble. But like he says, chopping down coconuts is a lot easier than walking to the nearest milk bar. The husk of the coconut is incredibly tough, and even after such a long fall as this, every one of them remains intact. They just make better milkshakes, that's all. Because the coconuts are so thick and well shaded by the tree's leaves, they stay surprisingly cool. And as soon as Joe climbs back down to earth and the all clear is given, it takes very little time for them to be snapped up by the kids. It was a case of every man for himself, but thankfully I didn't have to worry about missing out. Joe cut one open for me and a crowd gathered just to see me drink it.
This is great. This is like a birthday party or something. I needed that. Oh, it's even cold too. Yeah, it's good.
Well, the drinks were cold, but the sun was really beginning to hot up. So after downing another quick coconut, we headed back to the beach to enjoy the sea breeze. This place is always busy. These men were stocking up their boat for a long overnight fishing trip and hoping to bring back some turtles and crayfish. And the kids never seem to run out of new games to play in the shallows. If you've ever thought of getting away from it all, I'd say this is about as far as you can be. However, isolation does have its drawbacks, especially where health is concerned. Disease has always been a problem, and one type of incurable malaria is common here. On top of that, there are only 8 doctors and 1 dentist in the entire province. Surprisingly though, the kids are quite healthy, mainly due to their diet of natural foods. As we walked along the beach where my bottle had been found, Joe pointed out some kids who had made spears out of old umbrellas, which he said were perfect for catching small fish. When we challenged them to show us how well they worked, they told us to follow them to the quieter end of the beach. Within a matter of minutes, and after only a few attempts, they had snared one which they called a little baby, but which many a fisherman would be proud of.
John asked me if I wanted to come out on his boat with him, and I said yes, but I've just found out he wants to go water skiing, and I don't know if I can paddle that fast. But I've got a few people here to help me, so let's see if we can build up some speed. Let's go, give us a push. Although we got off to a good start, soon after the kids let go, I found we were doing little more than drifting around in circles. So I handed the paddle to Joe, and he steered us back on course. The ride was so smooth and quiet that I was beginning to think of this canoe as a viable alternative to returning home in our lack of power boat. Before too long, Mrs. Maipa rang out the call for lunch, and when we arrived back, she had set the table with a few of her special dishes. On the menu today was one of Joe's favourite meals, cooking banana, which tastes much like a sweet potato, and catfish in coconut milk, which along with more drinks in cups that you don't have to wash up later on, made for my kind of tucker. Yeah, you hungry? Yeah, you look tough.
It took me a while, however, to work out that as the guest, it was my job to pass out the plates and dish up the serves. Oh well, I guess the royal treatment I was getting had to stop somewhere. Hey, who's got the tomato sauce?
One or two?
Just one. Don't go away, we'll be back with more from Papua New Guinea in just a minute. Hey Bob, do you know the Come On Kids tune? Yes. That goes...
Stick around for our return to Papua New Guinea when the villagers honour us in a special dance and wish us well before we wave them goodbye.
Like the Australian Aboriginals, the Papua New Guineans believe that an important way of preserving their culture and heritage is through dancing. Now, dances are only done normally by the men and only on very special occasions. Our arrival here at the village is one such occasion, and this dance is especially for us. This dance has been performed the same way for hundreds of years in this part of Papua New Guinea, and it represents the villagers' wishes towards us for good fortune and health. One thing that surprised me about the dancing was the way they dressed with their everyday clothes on underneath. Though it may seem casual, the headbands, nut clusters and leaf skirts are all important, as is this magic powder, which is dusted upon the dancers to spur them on and give them the strength to dance for days. The song may not have been top 40 material, but it did have quite a catchy tune, and certainly wasn't hard to sing along with. John had no trouble matching it with the big boys, and though the band had done a terrific job, they played the song out to make way for an out-of-towner with a one-man bongo band. Bobby was from a village almost 3 days' walk away, but when he heard that we were here, he also wanted to dance for us. Bob, tell me, where did you learn to dance like that?
I learned this in my home, in the village. My parents taught me.
And is it a special sort of dance?
Yes, it's a special.
And tell me about the drum. Did you make that yourself?
Yes, I made this kundu. I cut the wood down, cut it down and made a shape. I drill it with a knife and then burn it with a fire. Finish complete, I paint it, finish. This one is, they live in the water. It's a snake.
Oh, so the actual drum part at the end here is a snake skin?
Snake, live in the water. Got the skin out, dry it and fit it on.
As you can see, Bob's costume is a little different from the old Moata style. These feathers belong to the cassowary bird and are not only rare, but have a very high spiritual value for his people. For a while, I was stuck for an idea on how I could repay these people for their good wishes, and then I remembered my camera.
There you go. It's yours. It's about 2 minutes, it'll be ready.
It turned out that no one in the village had ever had their photograph taken before. Even if one of them had owned a camera, there wasn't anywhere to take their films for developing. To say that these instant pictures were a hit would be an understatement, and around 100 snaps later, everybody had one. Unfortunately, our modelling session was interrupted by the sound of the church bell, which was rung to summon all the folk together for a special service in honour again of our arrival. The locals believed that the message in a bottle landing on their beach and the resultant coming together of our two peoples was an act of God. I don't exactly know if I'm a good luck charm or not, but the villagers were pleased that the bottle had washed up near Old Moata and that it was a sign of more good things to come.
As we begin our service this morning, we'll praise God by singing Kiwai hymn number 59. Kiwai wasare number 59. Buai go mainogu ni ora no wato, ora urio komidai, dau goro bidiro.
Religion is a very important part of these people's lives. Through song and prayer, they ask for things like good fishing, safe weather, health and prosperity. Is considered quite sacred, as it was the first place settled by white missionaries in the entire western half of Papua New Guinea. Those missionaries built the first Christian church on the same site as this over 100 years ago, and when it was destroyed by storms in the 60s, the villagers chipped in and built this one to replace it. I talked to Father John about what makes the church so important to the people.
They pray for the sick and pray for God's protections each day in the daily, God's protections and the development of Christian church throughout Papua New Guinea and other countries in Solomon Islands. Very important to think of those things in our prayer and some development in the Christian activities in the village.
Tell me about the songs you sing. Are they traditional or did you teach them to the congregation?
They are the old Methodist hymn in English, but was translated into our languages so that we could sing it as in our worship, during our worship time.
So you have your very own Bible in Pidgin, do you then?
We don't normally speak Pidgin in this area. We speak our own language and we got our own translated Bible and we use our own Bible. Or sometimes we as young people, we use English Bible and translate the languages into the language.
The church service was a good chance for all of us to think about our visit and the friends we had made here. For no sooner had it finished than the time came for all of us to head back to the beach and say our farewells. This journey to Papua New Guinea had to rate as the most enlightening experience I can remember. It embarrassed me to think of how little I knew about Australia's nearest neighbour and how much there was yet to learn. The people of Old Moata had taught me a lot about life, and in an effort to thank them for their hospitality, I had brought along a few small gifts for John and his family to remember me by. Undoubtedly, the best gift of all is friendship, and though communications with this remote village are difficult at the best of times, we had all promised to try and keep in touch.
John? Thank you very much. All right, give me another hand. It was good to meet you. And thank you for finding my bottle, all right? It's been great to meet you.
The people of the Western Province had lived up to their reputation of being the friendliest in the country, and though they may be poor, they can enrich you with their happiness. Now that I had mastered the skills of canoeing, and considering the poor state which our boat's engine was in, I figured it would take a lot less time if I paddled my way home. And besides, what a great souvenir. In fact, I've enjoyed this trip to Papua New Guinea so much, I thought I'd try the same trick again. A new message in a new bottle for a new person to find. Now, I'm a bit close to the shore, but the tide's going out, so who knows where it'll end up. Africa would be nice.
To meet John.
Yep.
And did you really paddle that all the way home?
No, not at all. No, I got on the other boat, no.
And what's this with the message in the bottle?
Well, actually, I took care of all that. Just between you and me, what I did is I went and grabbed it out of the water, I put it in a box and I mailed it to Africa. So when we get this letter back from Africa saying, I found a message in the bottle, the boss is going to have to fly me there. It's a great idea.
All you want to do is get another holiday. Look, tomorrow, I don't miss tomorrow's show because we're seeing some kids that are going to NASA Space Camp in America. See you then.
America would be nice, too.